Have you ever felt frustrated because others just don't seem to get you? We live in a world where seeking approval and trying to be understood by everyone can feel like an endless battle. What if I told you that the key to peace isn't explaining yourself to others, but aligning with your true self, regardless of what others think? Hi, I'm from the Stoic Way channel, and in today's video, we'll be diving into one of the most liberating teachings of Stoicism, accepting that not everyone will understand you, and how that's okay. Stoicism teaches us that peace comes from self-alignment and inner clarity, not from explaining or justifying ourselves to others. In a world full of noise, where everyone has an opinion, it's easy to fall into the trap of constantly seeking validation or approval from others. Stoicism provides a powerful framework to handle these feelings of disconnection or frustration. The Stoics remind us that we don't need external approval to be at peace. By focusing on self-acceptance and understanding rather than on others' opinions, we can free ourselves from the emotional weight of trying to be understood by everyone. In this video, we'll break down the wisdom of Epictetus, who said, "If anyone despises me, that is his problem." We'll explore how Stoic philosophy teaches us to find peace in being true to ourselves and stop seeking constant validation from others. You will learn practical Stoic strategies for accepting that not everyone will understand you, and how to live with clarity and peace, regardless of external judgment. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below on a time when you struggled with needing others to understand you. How has Stoic thought helped you shift your mindset? Let's dive in. Let's reflect on this powerful quote from Epictetus. "If anyone despises me, that is his problem." Epictetus. This quote encapsulates a core Stoic belief: our peace should not be dependent on others' opinions or judgments. In a world where so much of our energy can be spent on seeking approval and understanding from others, Epictetus reminds us that if someone rejects or despises us, that is not a reflection of our worth, but of their perspective. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control how others perceive us, but we can control how we respond. Instead of spending energy trying to change others' minds or seeking their validation, we can focus on aligning with our own values and being true to ourselves. This focus on self-alignment allows us to let go of the need for external approval and find peace in being authentic, regardless of what others think. When you feel misunderstood or rejected, this quote serves as a reminder that the problem lies with the judgment of others, not with who you are. Their rejection or lack of understanding does not diminish your worth. What matters is staying true to your own values and accepting yourself, regardless of external opinions. We just explored Epictetus' powerful words: "If anyone despises me, that is his problem." This Stoic insight reminds us that we cannot control how others perceive us, and that their opinions are ultimately not our responsibility. Let's break down what this really means and how it can be applied in our lives. This quote challenges us to let go of the need to be understood or approved by others. In a world filled with opinions, judgments, and the pressure to fit in, it's easy to tie our self-worth to how others see us. But Stoicism teaches us that true peace comes from self-acceptance, not from external validation. When we feel rejected or misunderstood, we often internalize the judgment of others, allowing it to dictate how we feel about ourselves. Epictetus offers a liberating perspective. If someone despises or misunderstands us, that's their issue, not ours. We don't need to explain ourselves or seek validation. The Stoic practice of detaching from the opinions of others helps us to remain calm and grounded, knowing that our worth is not determined by others' views. Think about a time when you felt rejected or misunderstood by others. Maybe it was at work, in a social setting, or even within your family. When this happens, we often feel hurt or anxious because we want to be understood. But Stoicism teaches us that understanding comes from within. Instead of seeking external approval, we can choose to align with our values and focus on what we can control: our own actions, thoughts, and reactions. For example, imagine you've just shared an idea or opinion in a group and someone dismisses it. Instead of reacting defensively or trying to explain yourself, Stoicism encourages us to accept that not everyone will understand or agree with us. We can move forward with dignity, knowing that we remain true to ourselves, regardless of their reaction. This Stoic perspective ties back to the concept of self-alignment. Stoicism teaches that our sense of peace and confidence comes from within, not from external sources. We should align our actions with our own values and live authentically, regardless of whether others understand or approve. This detachment from external validation allows us to act with integrity and find peace in our own choices. In Stoicism, we also encounter the concept of virtue, living in accordance with what is right and true, regardless of others' opinions. Virtue is its own reward. By focusing on acting with integrity and aligning with our core beliefs, we stop seeking approval from those who might misunderstand us and find fulfillment in simply doing what is right. Next time you feel misunderstood or judged by others, ask yourself, is this judgment something I can control? If not, then it's not my responsibility to carry. Instead, shift your focus back to what you can control: your response, your actions, and your sense of self-worth. Choose to detach from the opinions of others, knowing that your value is not defined by their approval. For example, if you're criticized for something you believe in, instead of trying to explain yourself or seek approval, practice inner acceptance. Focus on your own values and actions, and let go of the need for others' understanding. This doesn't mean ignoring constructive feedback, but it does mean not internalizing unwarranted criticism. I've experienced this in my own life. I remember a time when I presented an idea to a group, and one person completely dismissed it. Instead of feeling upset or trying to convince them I was right, I paused and reminded myself of the Stoic lesson: I don't need to be understood by everyone. What mattered was that I stood by my idea with integrity. This allowed me to remain calm, rather than getting caught up in frustration or self-doubt. Now, think about a time when you felt misunderstood or dismissed. How did you react? Can you apply the Stoic principle of self-alignment and choose to detach from others' opinions, focusing instead on your own values and actions? I encourage you to reflect on this the next time you feel judged, and choose peace over the need for validation. Let us dive into one of the most powerful Stoic teachings: accepting that not everyone will understand you. In a world where social media, workplace dynamics, and even family expectations often push us to seek validation and approval, it's easy to fall into the trap of trying to explain ourselves to others. However, Stoicism teaches us to find peace in self-alignment, regardless of whether others get us or not. The key is to stop seeking approval from others and focus on living authentically according to our values and principles. The Stoic practice of detaching from the need for others' understanding is not about withdrawing or being indifferent to others' opinions, but about recognizing that our peace and emotional well-being are not dependent on external approval. Instead of seeking validation, Stoicism invites us to focus on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and reactions, and find fulfillment in living with integrity. The idea of detaching from others' opinions is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, especially in the teachings of Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. Epictetus was clear that our happiness depends on our response to external events, not on the events themselves. In his discourses, he repeatedly emphasizes that we should focus on what is within our control and let go of what is not, including the opinions and judgments of others. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, echoed this idea. He wrote about the importance of remaining true to ourselves, despite external pressures, and not allowing other people's judgments to disrupt our inner peace. Both Stoic philosophers understood that seeking validation from others is a futile pursuit that leads to unnecessary stress and self-doubt. In Stoicism, self-alignment is key to emotional stability. Self-alignment means living in accordance with your values, acting with integrity, and not allowing the judgments of others to shape your sense of worth. The dichotomy of control is the Stoic framework that helps us understand that we can control our thoughts and reactions, but we cannot control how others perceive us or what they think about us. Detaching from the need to be understood is a powerful tool for building resilience. When we stop measuring our self-worth based on external opinions, we regain the power to live authentically. It's not about disregarding others' feedback or opinions, but about not allowing those opinions to define us or disrupt our emotional peace. At its core, this Stoic principle teaches us that peace comes from within, and that we don't need others' approval to live in alignment with our true selves. Imagine you're in a situation where you feel misunderstood. Maybe it's at work, in a social setting, or even with family. The natural response is often to try and explain yourself or convince others of your point of view. However, the Stoic approach is to stop explaining yourself and instead focus on your own alignment. You can live in harmony with your values, even if others don't understand or agree with you. For example, let's say you're at work and your ideas are being dismissed by others. Rather than getting defensive or trying to prove yourself, Stoicism encourages you to focus on doing your work with integrity, without needing validation from your colleagues. Your value is not defined by their approval. Similarly, if you are in a social situation where others don't seem to understand your choices or beliefs, instead of seeking their approval, focus on your own actions and live in alignment with your core values. By detaching from their judgment, you maintain your peace and remain true to yourself. This Stoic practice of detaching from others' opinions has profound benefits for our mental health. When we constantly seek validation, we give away our emotional power. We become dependent on external sources to determine our self-worth, which can lead to stress, anxiety, and frustration. Stoicism teaches us that our peace doesn't depend on external validation, but on our ability to stay true to ourselves, regardless of what others think. When we practice this Stoic mindset, we begin to free ourselves from the emotional roller coaster that comes with seeking approval from others. We gain emotional resilience and mental clarity, because we no longer feel the need to explain ourselves or justify our actions. Instead, we can focus on living authentically, knowing that our self-worth comes from within. By practicing the Stoic principle of detaching from the need for external validation and focusing on self-alignment, we can build emotional resilience and maintain our peace. No matter how others perceive us, living true to ourselves, independent of others' opinions, is the Stoic way to cultivate lasting inner peace. Today, we explored the Stoic teaching of accepting that not everyone will understand you, and how this principle can bring peace and clarity into your life. Epictetus reminds us that when someone despises us or misunderstands us, it's not a reflection of who we are, but a reflection of their perspective. We discussed how Stoicism encourages us to focus on self-alignment, living in accordance with our own values and acting with integrity, regardless of others' judgments. Instead of trying to explain or justify ourselves to the world, we can find peace in being true to ourselves, knowing that our worth doesn't depend on external validation. So, how can you apply this Stoic principle in your life today? Next time you feel misunderstood or judged by others, take a step back and remember, their opinion does not define your value. Focus on staying aligned with your core values, acting with integrity, and letting go of the need for external approval. This shift in focus can help you maintain inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. Ask yourself, how can I detach from the need to be understood, and instead focus on living authentically? This simple practice can reduce stress and bring clarity in moments of uncertainty or judgment. Take a moment to reflect. Where in your life are you seeking approval or validation from others? How can you apply this Stoic teaching of detachment to that situation? I encourage you to think about how you can choose peace over the need to explain yourself. By focusing on aligning with your values, you can stop seeking validation and live authentically. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can continue learning Stoic wisdom for a peaceful and purposeful life. Leave a comment below on how you plan to apply this Stoic principle of detaching from external validation. How are you going to live true to yourself, regardless of others' opinions? To leave you with a final thought, remember the words of Epictetus: if anyone despises me, that is his problem. By embracing this Stoic mindset, we take back our emotional power and choose peace over frustration. Stay true to yourself. Let go of the need for approval and watch how your inner peace and strength grow.